Hi. Have you ever thought why we are stressed when holiday starts, or why you are stressed before holiday starts? This is my first day out of the office. I unfortunately have to go back tomorrow to water the plants and get the trash out and collect some pieces of my wardrobe over there because I couldn't get them with me yesterday. But this is like officially my first day out of the office. But I have been stressed, very stressed, for the past week, maybe past 2 weeks. And it somehow occurred to me that, am I the only one? Do you feel the same before holiday? And why? And what could I do about it? What could I do about it that I don't feel this way before I should be having fun? But there are other things than work, of course. One thing, this kind of very practical thing, I still have my morning coffee, so excuse me if I continue. But there are, the spoon is on the way. But then there is, of course, these personal reasons to be anxious. And one that I have is that I'm terribly afraid of getting sick before holiday. And that's one thing that I want to, or one reason why I want to have my holidays quite long. So when we travel for 3 weeks. So if I am sick, I should be fine part of the time. But I don't go to public places. I avoid eating out, not to get the stomach things. I know that that's a little bit paranoid, but especially after COVID, I think that people understand me better. But I was like this before COVID, so I have always had this nightmare that I'm going to be sick the whole holiday, or I have to cancel the whole thing because I can't fly. That would be like devastating. Plan this thing for half a year and then have to cancel. During COVID, we had to cancel one holiday, but of course, it was expected cancellation, so it didn't come just out of the blue, and it wasn't my fault. And that's the next thing. I don't know if you think about it. I am anxious about people having fun. So, does my family enjoy our holiday? What if they don't? And I don't know about you, but I feel that it's somehow my responsibility to make sure that everything is perfect and everybody has fun and everybody's happy. And if they are not, what have I done wrong? I know in my head that my powers are very limited. So if somebody is sick, or if somebody is moody, or if somebody doesn't like too much heat, or the house, or something, then I cannot do anything about it. I have made these choices where we spend our holiday to the best of my ability. I looked and Googled and read all these kind of descriptions, and I've shown it to them. So at least they would be part responsible. But of course, it doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. If you feel anxiety about things that other people feel, you cannot rationalize it away. You can try, but it doesn't go away, like totally. But for that, it's good to, divide responsibility, or at least let them have a look, so they have a similar opportunity to know if something's wrong. And then there are other things, of course. Expectations of ourselves, how we feel, and is the holiday so fulfilling like we like it to be? when the holiday is over, are we happy and relaxed, or are we more stressed than when we left? I remember when my kids were small and I traveled with their father and my kids, then the holidays could be very stressful. And sometimes, or most of the times, I was waiting to get back home to the normal routines, that everything works and my kids know what they are doing. They were having fun. They were really having fun wherever we went. And I don't know, maybe I was part of that they really had fun. But that's another thing. Is this for me a good vacation? Or do I come back disappointed and tired and have no energy to start the autumn? That's quite a frightening idea. But that's one thing that people are really concerned about. And of course, if you have a fragile mind, it's tough to go to new environment and to do things to cook in a kitchen that is not yours, but something from the 1950s. But I personally don't mind that. But I know that many people do. And especially if you have children that have difficulties in adjusting to change, then this can be a real issue to help them to feel comfortable in another environment. And it's not just that you shouldn't then travel. It's not wise. Because, I don't know, mostly I see even those kids having fun with the pool and with everything. It's just the problematic situations, for example, going to sleep and eating and those kind of transitions that are troubling and cause extra. And a matter of costing something, of course, holidays are quite expensive. So I'm aware how much money did we put on this trip and how much it's going to cost. And I'm a stingy person. I'm not very comfortable in using money, although I choose to use money to my family vacations, and I do not regret that. But I feel it in my heart that this is taking a major part of our income. But of course it depends on a person, and I try to think always that this vacation that I have paid already and know how much it did cost, I don't regret it. I thought about this a long time ago when I realized that whatever I buy, I have this tremendous remorse that I have to switch it to the other form, so that if I know that something is expensive, of course I think ahead, am I ready for this? And then if I start to feel remorse, I just sit down with myself and tell myself that next time when I plan a holiday, I will set a limit to smaller amounts of money, and then we just have to do, and that's it. And of course, I have said to my husband and to children that, or not to children, I don't want to burden them with the finances. It's not their thing. They have to start a life as a students and they do not have much, but they will learn to eat with the budget and dress with the budget and live with the budget. And I think that's a good thing. You learn. And then when you have more, you really enjoy it. But that's another thing. That was a long discussion with our eldest, to not to try to have everything in a one in one go, even if you could afford it, like barely. But I don't trouble them with my or our finances. But what I was talking about, yeah. But to my husband, to him, I can complain about these things, and I just said that, well, we can travel X amount of times if we go on a lower budget, and then we can go only once if we go on a high budget. And you may guess what he said. He wants to travel as much as possible, so we are lowering our standards if necessary and travel more. But that's something that I know that my father was somehow very concerned about using money. I guess it comes from his childhood. He was from very poor family, and I can understand that. But with my original family, we never traveled anywhere. I traveled with my mother once when I was 15, and that was the only thing. We just traveled like to the nearby places with a car and tent and slept outside. So it was 70s and 80s, and it was fine. Many people did that then, although I wouldn't want to sleep outside now. I don't feel comfortable. I'm afraid. Well, first of all, of course, if you are an entrepreneur or if you have a considerable amount of responsibility at your work, you have the deadlines and you have certain things that you have to be able to get ready before you start your holiday. And that's one major thing for me. And for some reason, people want to get things done before I start my holiday. So it's usually phone rings more. People contact me in the last minute. So day before I start my holiday, that could you do this and this and this and this. Well, I understand they want to be prepared. They want their things to be ready. But I have had my holiday at specifically the same time for the past 10 years that I have had my company, or now it's over 10 years. Every summer, from the midsummer, I start my holiday and try to be off of the office 3 or 4 weeks or even more. But I have tried to reduce the stress by planning. And the first thing, so when it comes to work, I have planned like 2 last weeks. So I have this just random piece of paper that I have these last 10 days, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and so forth. And then I have another paper that I have a list of things that I have to be able to do before I go. And then there are those things that I do if I have the time. But they are not so crucial, so I can move them forward when I come back from the holiday, and that's no big deal. But I say constantly but I have these 2 lists, and then I start to do things from the priority list and then just erase them from the list. And I have the list of dates that I try to put, like how many days do these tasks take. So day number 10, I have to do this, and 9 this, and 8 this. This would be, of course, the ideal situation if I could plan like this the last 10 days. But of course it doesn't work that way, because I have to make a draft and send it to the client, and they respond, and then we do adjustments and so forth. But I certainly try. And at this spring, a week ago, I was on work on Saturday because I thought that it would be better to work a little extra there and avoid the worst stress in the end of the week. And we are traveling, but we are not traveling today. We are traveling day after tomorrow. So I knew that in the worst case scenario, I should have few days extra here if everything goes somehow south. But fortunately, that is not the case. So I just have to clean the office and water plants and get my stuff, and that's the only thing that I didn't have time to do yesterday. And of course, there are always surprises, like some meetings are not going to take place, and then you have to work extra. But that's the one thing that I try to do every year, and I'm really anxious if I don't. So I plan the last 2 weeks as the best of my ability. Those were the things that came into my mind about why are we so anxious before the holiday starts. And I have had somewhat headache for the past week, almost 2 weeks, and my shoulders are tense and my neck is tense and my jaws are tense. And I know that is stress. But now I try to get rid of the anxiety and relax and start my holiday and enjoy the fact that I am ironing my summer dresses for use. Because in here it's +10 even though sun is shining, so it is cold for summer. But I hope that you don't have a too bad anxiety before holiday, and if you do, I hope that these things that I have thought through may help you. I hope to see you soon. Goodbye.